Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to Endzone, A World Apart, a game available now on Steam for PC. It is in early access. I'm playing the closed beta about a day early, but I figured I'd give a little bit of a tutorial on what to do when you're getting started in Endzone, A World Apart, and also to just tell you to check it out. It's quite a cool survival city builder game taking place in a post-apocalyptic world, where a bunch of nuclear reactors have been sabotaged by a terrorist organization, and everything is rough times. So let's go ahead and start with a new game here today and see exactly what the game has in store for us. I'm going to go ahead and name our map as we always do of Raptoria. Glory to Raptoria down below in that comment section. And if you'd like to see a full multi-part playthrough of this game, make sure you smash that like button to let me know. Otherwise, I'll do a couple of quick tutorials for all of you. And I'm going to go ahead and try to make some of the settings a little easier so we can get started as soon as possible. This should be good here. I think these are all basic settings for the game. So let's get started and let's roll in Endzone, A World Apart. Again, this game is in early access now on Steam, and then we'll be receiving more and more updates as it goes along in order to complete the game. So make sure you check it out on Steam again. And man, this looks beautiful. I see a guard tower there. That should be quite interesting. A fresh start. It seems like to be a suitable place to settle. You know what we learned back at the end zone. Basic needs first. We need to install a water and food supply, and afterwards, let's build ourselves a new home. All right, well, welcome to all of you. We're going to pause things here as we take a look at this beautiful map. We have a wonderful lake here for us to get a lot of water from, and it looks like we have a town over here. Looks like there's an area for us to salvage a lot of stuff from an old overgrown gas station, and it looks like, wow, giant factories and other things nearby. That's very, very cool. And also, let's see if there's a nuclear reactor around somewhere. There it is. Wow, we've settled near a nuclear reactor, which we can eventually go and try to do some quests at when we build a exploration post or a scout post or something like that. So one of the most important things in this game is getting, as they mentioned, food and water up. We're going to build a boardwalk here, which allows our people to go walk out on the boardwalk to gather water, and then they're going to put it into a cistern, which is basically like a above ground pool that all the water is going to be gathered in. So let's go ahead and put down a cistern and our boardwalk. They'll work together in order to gather water. It's much more effective than the well, I found. Well is great for droughts, but it is not needed and doesn't produce as much. So we'll get started with that. We're also going to put down ourselves a field, a farm field, so that way we can grow some crops. The minimum size that we can do, by the way, is a 6x6. So I'm going to go ahead and put this as close to the water as possible, though eventually we'll be able to irrigate the ground. And as you can see, it's radioactive too, so our people are going to have to clear all that land. So here's our wonderful Raptorians. Say hello to them, a good group. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah, they are ready to work. Excellent. So they're going to come out and start clearing that land of radioactivity, and then they're going to start building too. And very similar to Banished, by the way. There's elements of Banished in this game. There's elements of games like Surviving the Aftermath, and also games like... what was it called? Life is Feudal Forest Village. So there's a lot to do. So they're going to go ahead and start building these buildings for us. So our water cistern, our boardwalk, and our farm are very essential starts to the game. Also, a gatherer's hut is very important too, and brings in quite a bit of food before there are droughts. And at the bottom here, you can see elements of Frostpunk, where we can see that it's going to rain today, tomorrow, and the day after. But on what looks to be day 4, there's not going to be any rain. And we can build rain collectors too, which will give us an extra boost in our water to be stored nearby sometime soon. Looks like we can also put down a gatherer's hut. We can move the work area for the gatherer's hut, but we'll build that a little bit later after we've kind of started building our houses and things. So let's go ahead and start building some roadways, some dirt roads to get our people moving. So we'll go ahead and build a road from our water zone down to our, I guess, our Capitol building, our town hall, which essentially is just a broke down bus that everybody has bailed out of. You can see they've strapped like cisterns to it and extra supplies and things like that. So that's where they'll store things for now. But eventually, we'll need much more storage. Let's go ahead and make sure we also get some more food from the fishing hut. We're going to go ahead and put down a fishing hut here. I wish it were a pizza hut, but it has to be a fishing hut, I suppose, for now. So we can build a couple of those. We'll start with one, and we'll put it right here near the water and right next to the cistern. Perfect. And then we'll make a little roadway that goes over there as well. So now we've got some builders assigned, and we've got regular people working on clearing the lands. See if we can make a roadway back there. Perfect. Excellent. So those should be the most important things to build. Fish will bring in food until the drought, and the farm needs to grow, so we'll need some backup food. At the top, you see our water supply, food supply, wood, scrap, tools, protective respirators, pharmaceuticals, cloth, metal, plastic, electronics, and coal. Some of those things are end game, but we'll work mostly on trying to get scrap and wood as soon as possible. Let's speed up time a little bit so our people can get things done, and we'll see the construction take place in this game. In the meantime, I'm going to also prepare on getting some other things up, such as our, let's see, ooh, actually, wow, look at them build real quick. Nicely done. Yeah, so the cistern is basically an above-ground pool that people work on gathering supplies from. So let's go ahead and slow things down a little bit, and we'll add 5 people to do work there. And we'll go down to like a construction crew of 2. And everybody who is just assigned as a basic settler is now kind of working in transport. It looks like we also need some farmers, though, so we'll make sure we do that as well. You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com. Let's go ahead and get that going. We'll select a crop here for them to grow. And I think we start with a bunch of random crops. So let's see. I think the best one for us right now might be potato. It takes the longest to grow, but it'll give us the most benefit for later on. That road building's really taking place nicely. Very good. We can take a look at the saturation of the soil, too, by the way. Moist, wet, dry, and sere. And basically meaning dry or barren. So it's a good spot for us to put our farm right there. Eventually we can do irrigation, too, but we won't need to be that complicated and complex at the start. Let's start building some homes for our people now. They've done a great job of getting started. We can only build the basic home for now because we don't have plastics needed to build the advanced home, which has a water storage device with it, like a giant water tank. So we'll build, let's start with maybe 4 homes here. And then we'll do 4 homes on the other side. Maybe, actually we can do it right next to it if we'd like to. Let's do another 4 homes here. And 1 more. Perfect. Now, just like in Banished as well, we can go ahead and set areas for people to harvest things. So if we go to task, we can tell them to start cutting down the trees over here, and we can also adjust the size of that by basically, I think, no, I don't know if we can adjust the size of that. I can't quite remember. But regardless, we don't need to start too big. Anyway, 1 settler is assigned to that, so that's okay. We have people ready for the fishing dock. That's good. Let's go ahead and get 1 builder and 1 settler to work on that. Right now, water is the most important thing, followed very closely by food, and anything else they do is going to be cutting down trees. So we need some more settlers here. So there is a lot to do in this camp now, getting started. I'm going to lay out the rest of our roads while we wait. The settlers will take roads because they're a little faster to walk to, but sometimes they'll just walk whatever route's fastest. So we'll build a road around this neighborhood here. And perfect. We have 8 homes slated for construction, with 1 of them being completed there. Nice day-night cycle in this game as well. And a lot of complex buildings, too. Everything from marketplaces to refineries, charcoal burners, large logistics, weather stations, and cemeteries, which really increase your people's what is called confidence. And that's something that you really need to be high in order for people to procreate and have more children, and also for settlers to kind of join the camp, too. I think that's something that can happen. So we'll eventually build ourselves a cemetery. Keeping confidence high after starting with food is like your next most important thing. And what really helps with that, too, by the way, is buildings like the campfire, the school, and the cemetery are good starts. And then a later game is a medical facility and the pub, since you'll need to export grain to the pub so they can actually make some alcohol for consumption as well. Let's go ahead and build a community building here, which will just be like a giant campfire for everyone to hang out at. Think of it as kind of like an outdoor pavilion or something for everyone to be entertained. Okay, looks like that field is really off to a good start. We've got 4 out of 4 farmers ready to tend to it. I think they do weeding and things like that whenever they need to. And we're clearing this area down here so we can build some more homes. Now, eventually a drought will come every so often. It'll blow a sandstorm throughout the entire map. So we'll need to watch out for that, and it'll kill all the soil, and it'll make harvesting hard. So we really need to be watching out for those drought days. The next thing I want to do is assign a task to also gather scrap. And it looks like we've got scrap nearby. Lots of scrap nearby. Oh, also over at these homes, too. We can reclaim those if we get a large scrapyard. We'll get a lot of people to basically go gather that scrap. But we want to clear things out so that way we can build a little further away from our town as they're still constructing things. It looks like we almost got enough homes for everybody. Oh, looks like more people can actually live here. Ah, and you can see what jobs they're assigned to as well. You can see that they're either a child or that they're working as a farmer or a water carrier, perhaps the Grim Reaper. I'm not sure exactly. All right, let's go ahead and see what else they've got going on here. Let's go ahead and continue to move the work area. Ah, wow, they've given much more details in the game. Good, very good updates. This is, again, being played the day before release, so technically I'm playing the closed beta right before the early access. So there could be some small changes to the game tomorrow, so we'll see. Ah, Looks like the building is completely full. The cistern is absolutely full. That's a good problem to have. That means we should probably build ourselves... actually, we'll go ahead and reduce the number of water gatherers then. We'll put that down to 1. We'll add some more people to fishing then. So that way we can get more people assigned to that. And we'll get another builder there too. When the water goes down, we can assign more people to it, but it looks like food is the next critical thing. So let's also build ourselves a gathering post as well. Very good thing to have. Although we don't want to have it too close to the town because we're still expanding the town. But I think over here would be a good hunting area since we might not build over here. There's a large town in the way that eventually needs to be harvested. So let's build ourselves a small little gathering hut or hunting lodge. I think the gatherer's hut is a little bit more choice, I would say. Let's go ahead and put that behind this other food gathering building, which is the fishing lodge. They do a good job there. Good work. Now, we're eventually going to have to gather continuous amounts of scrap, so that way we can transform it into other materials. With the recycler, we'll be able to convert it into other things such as cloth, metal, plastics, and electronics, which will help us to build other buildings, but we'll need more scrap in our storage in order to do that. So we might need to actually build a scrapyard soon, but that employs a lot of people, so we got to get that population up. But we can still build a recycler to start with, and we'll build our industrial area somewhere, maybe up here somewhere. And of course we don't want our people to walk too far to work, but this is a good area for us to build because there's a lot of scrap up there, and they can build it right to the bring it right to the recycling area. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to logistics and build a road through the forest, and we'll build our scrappers right along this road. Alright, let's start with 1 for the recycler. And we'll tell our people to go up there and start collecting scrap, too, as soon as they've collected the scrap closest to the HQ. So right now it looks like there's none there. Let's go ahead and gather the rest from down here. Very small amounts for starting, but it'll give us a lot of different materials in time. Looks like we have another post ready for the gatherer. So let's go ahead and increase that. Get 2 people on gathering then. And food should start to increase over time. Now, eventually in this game, we will be able to have electric resources. We can have a solar gatherer and then build a battery. And then that'll allow us to build power lines, which will power our entire house. Looks like our people now are already low on protective clothing, so that's why we're building our recycler, so we can get some cloth from that and then start extracting more and more stuff. Looks like we got about 16 adults and 4 children that are going down because they're becoming adults, so they're growing up, so that's good to see. And confidence in the camp is quite good, as well as health, too. That'll eventually decrease, so eventually we'll need to build a herbalist, so that way they can go out and pick plants that are needed, just like the gatherer, except they gather herbs, which are needed for producing medicine. Alright, the end of another night. Our people are doing quite well in their shacks. Those were pretty easy to build, pretty fast to build, so very good. Alright, looks like food is kind of dwindling between acceptable levels, and it should be permanently acceptable when the crop is finished, which is about halfway done. Yep, looks like the crop yield is approaching 252 is what we'll need in order to harvest it. So planting is complete. We can harvest current yield, but we want to wait a little longer. Excellent. Our recycler is complete. Good, let's go ahead and reduce the numbers of builders now, and let's get a refiner going. And this, of course, will allow more settlers to gather scrap. So we're going to tell this person to gather cloth, so that way we can then build ourselves a tailor, who then can start making protective masks out of that. So let's take a look here. If we go to resources, we can see here that we need 12 cloth in order to build the tailor. So we might as well build another recycler in the meantime, so we can double down on that gathering, and then eventually we'll build more and more stuff. Oh, cool, look at the radioactive pigs and stuff coming through. They're like different colors. Oh, they're boars. How boring. Alright, let's go ahead and check out what we can do now for the neighborhood. Looks like we need more homes. So let's go ahead and expand on that a little bit more. Let's go ahead and build maybe 4 homes on this side. There we go. Homes are always needed in this game, so prepare to have a lot of space and a lot of materials dedicated to it. Looks like food is still an issue, but we will choose our gathering area for... Oh, look at all that gathering hut stuff. There we go. They don't have to walk too far to gather, but of course a gatherer isn't going to be downtown. It's going to be off in the distance. So good. Now we have 4 people assigned to, let's see, gathering, boom, and 4 farmers and 4 fishermen. So hopefully that'll solve our food problem. Let's assign another person to water, and that should be pretty good for now. Looks like the logging is completed in the south. So let's go ahead and ask them to gather wood maybe over... Well, let's try to keep some trees nearby and make it still look nice. Let's go ahead and gather some logs from up here and more scrap from up here too. There we go. Big O area for scrap up here. Look at that. 109 scrap. That's perfect. So we'll get some people on that shortly. We need some more people in town, though, to work for us. So that's why we built all these extra homes so they have a place to move into. So that's really good. We can also tell our people to gather plants as well without building the gatherer hut. But it's a little bit more efficient if you actually build the hut. All right. So let's see. Food is still a little suspicious, but it's getting a little bit better. At least it's holding where it needs to. So let's work on trying to expand something else. We'll try to get another refiner going. But that means we'll have to take away from food. So I'll take away one farmer. And we'll assign them to, not the water carrier, but the refiner. Perfect. So now we can have 2 people work on cloth. Excellent. So soon we should have the 12th cloth we need for the tailor. So let's build our tailor as well. So that way when the time is right, they should start being able to make clothing right away. And we'll go ahead and put that right here. Alright, now water is low and not food. So it's a fine balance between the two. And as soon as we have some more people, as soon as we get more adults, we'll be able to increase that. Excellent. Numbers are looking okay. Perfect. And food should bop up really fast as soon as the potatoes are done. Everyone will be able to have fish and potatoes for dinner. Very nice. Better. Oh, and berries too. And roots and other things that they gather out of the forest. Very nice. Alright, looks like both of these scrap yards are kind of worthless at the... Or the recyclers are worthless at the moment because we don't have any scrap. So let's go ahead and take them off refining. And we'll assign them as regular settlers so they can gather more scrap. And we'll try to get our scrap reserves up a little higher. As well as our log reserves too, so we can keep building these wonderful homes down here. Which also require scrap. So scrap is of the essence. Very good. A lot of fine-tuning, a lot of balancing at the very start between your town. So make sure you try to do things prioritizing food, shelter, and also water at the start. Almost equal. Ah, it's raining now. Perfect. It would be a fantastic day for us to go out and gather more water. The rain collectors are great because they automatically gather water and can store some of it, though eventually you'll want to build yourself a water tower that can also filter some of the water for if it becomes radioactive, especially on a rainy day. Alright, looks like we got some more alerts here. Yep, we want to make sure we continuously gather food. Food's okay, though. The number's not 0, it's just low, but that's okay. We're getting started. Wow, and are we gathering a lot of scrap or what? Yeah, we got 94 scrap there. It's all going towards home building, and that's going to be needed, too, to expand our town a little bit more. Looks like every house pretty much has somebody in it, and they're starting a small family, too. If we don't give them space to grow, they are not going to be happy, and they won't be able to have more children to participate in the survival of this great town. Glory to Raptoria, of course. And again, welcome to all those new subscribers, and thanks for smashing that join button throughout the week as well. I want to thank everyone for their support. And thank you very much for being here. This is very exciting. I love starting a new town in this game. It's very good. There's been some recent updates, so I haven't been able to continue my previous towns. So it's nice to start over again and see what's new in the recent updates as well. A little bit more scrap needs to be gathered, though. It's all going towards building houses. So as soon as we have any, it immediately gets delivered for homes. And it looks like there is a drought coming. We've got a drought alert. Drought alert. All citizens prepare for the drought. Now, the good thing is that we don't have many people, so it won't affect us too much so long as we have enough storage. But we will have to, right before the day before the drought, we will have to harvest this fields if it's not already. And we'll probably immediately start on gathering all the materials. All right, let's go ahead and make sure we got all water carriers and food preparations ready. We need to prepare to harvest all that stuff immediately. And it looks like our construction crews are probably working on the last couple of buildings here. Looks like 7 out of 15 scrap has been delivered. Good. So the rest of the scrap is being brought in by the citizens. But now we are preparing for a drought, which means that water and food take precedence over everything else. Alright, water is starting to go up again. The maximum storage, I believe, for the cistern is, I believe, 1,500. I don't know if it says it anywhere. Our production limit is at 10,000, but really for water, you never want there to be a limit on food or water. It doesn't go bad. It just gets stored, and that's totally fine. Alright, our first drought is incoming. Hopefully we can hold on. We're out of protective clothing, and that's why we're building that tailor's thing, but we're just waiting now on scrap to come in so we can gather cloth from that. but it's going to take a while. Let's see here. Yep, still 71 scrap there, and still cutting down trees, too. Now, unfortunately, as soon as the drought comes, that means no more fishing, no more farming, and no more gathering of crops. The drought kills everything. It loses all of its leaves, the lakes dry up, and it's pretty impressive. And then a giant Darude passes over the top, sandstorm passes over the top of the town. So it could be no bueno, as they say in France, especially if they speak Spanish. All right, let's go ahead and see if we got ourselves any opportunities to build anything else while we're waiting. Nope, looks like all scrap is going to go towards building the final tailor. But with the drought coming, our priorities are going to have to change towards food and water. So it looks like everybody's working quickly at gathering from the cistern. They're basically taking giant water jugs down to the lake and then filling them up and filling up the cistern by hand. Looks like our food and water reserves are approaching the green levels now. That's good. And all other productions have stopped except for the production of the tailor. So that's good. We've got plenty of tools for everybody. Eventually we'll have to make ourselves a... Oh, and wonderful. Food is coming in. Look at that. Everybody's able to bring food over to the van. Wonderful. Good work, everyone. Excellent. So the harvest is complete. Let's go ahead and turn off the farm for now because we know it's basically going to die in a couple of days. So let's get rid of the farmers for now. Good job, everyone. And we'll hope that the rest of the farmers bring in scrap now so we can start our protective clothing preparations for the tailor. Now, it's probably going to be necessary for us to build about 4 tailors and about 6 to 8 scrappers or recyclers, so that way we can eventually get all the materials we need. They are the ones who pull out cloth, metal, plastic, and electronics, so there's multiple things to do. Building a refinery is good, but it takes a lot of people, a lot of materials to build, and also can only refine one material at a time, so it's more of an end game item that you'll need. Alright, 2 days remain now until the big O drought comes through. Looks like we've got people working there. Let's also go ahead and ask people to gather some more plants if they can. Let's ask people to gather from over here. Oh, looks like we can also gather herbs from here too for medicine. Alright, we'll go ahead and work on that as well. Alright, so that'll bring in some more food. Unfortunately, our people are going to have to bear with us for the protective clothing shortage, but it should be fine soon enough. Let's make some more areas for housing. Let's go ahead and expand this a little bit. And we'll make some streets here so we can build some houses. And we'll have this entire area be a neighborhood. There are areas of service that we can have around buildings. So if we build a school, for example, it'll serve a certain neighborhood, kind of like how it is in City Skylines. If people need a hospital, you kind of have to build the hospital near the buildings. People don't want to go across town to get to the hospital. Alright, speaking of towns, by the way, look at all the wonderful materials we have here. Look at the good details in the game as well. It looks quite nice. I've been playing this one quite a while, so my expertise mostly comes from trial and error, and also from the game being early access, of course. With it being a closed beta, they're doing balancing, and early access means that too. So if there's something you don't like, it is subject to change, and I would recommend following the developers on Twitter and also joining their Discord, so that way you can give suggestions and ask questions if you would like to purchase the game as well. Alright, let's see here. So the next thing we're worried about is food. Food is still an issue even after the giant harvest. We are bringing in more fish from the fishing dock. We are bringing in berries and fruits and things like that from the gatherers there, and also from a other gatherer as well, from a manual task. We have 22 adults now, good. And we still have people gathering scrap. So it looks like the workforce needs to get cloth to finish the refiner. I'm going to try to get 2 people assigned to refining now, just because we have a boost in our population. So if we can get to 12 cloth, we'll be able to construct it. Actually, all we need is, we're at 8 right now, so we need 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe. Yeah, 4. Well, no, we need more than that, because if the tailor is going to be of use, we need a little bit of cloth waiting too. So we should probably get up to like 24 cloth. 4 more to complete it, and 20 to actually do any sort of work. Alright, we have 1 more day of rain. Food is still low. Unfortunately, we can't tell our citizens to go hunting, but if we build a hunting lodge, it does allow them to build and maintain hunting equipment such as bows, traps, and also rifles and things like that for hunting. We also could put down a plantation too. but that's going to be needed a little bit later. Our population has increased a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and operate another farm for after the drought. But I'll leave this off for now. There we go. Oh, looks like a little bit of crop was planted here. 19 out of 252. Well, not enough time to really harvest that. And no bother, it's not that worth our time. Excellent. Looks like the tailor is ready to build. So we can now assign our builder to do that. Let's go ahead and assign 2 builders then. Good, so maybe we can try to make some protective masks during the drought. Let's go ahead and assign 2 tailors. And we'll keep people working on recycling as well. Okay, we have no task to build, so I'm just going to leave 1 builder assigned so I don't forget. I'm a little forgetful when it comes to assigning those. But we do have 2 farm fields now, so we could get 3 builders from each to work on that. Alright, food is going to be real scarce. Let's go ahead and try to put down another task. Oh, looks like they're still gathering plants. Wonderful. Alright, they're gathering as much as they can. Protective clothing is the only other thing needed now. And our people are just making neck scarves as a basic form of protection. But eventually we will have to increase it. The continuous droughts will blow in more and more radioactive soil and will give us a hard time. While we're waiting for the drought to come in, a giant sandstorm is pending and looming on the horizon. Let's go ahead and make a few little roads here. And eventually we can build a warehouse nearby to store this stuff, but right now it's all just being stored at the van. You can see them coming back and forth to pick up and deliver things as needed. But eventually it won't be enough. And we will need to build depositories around the camp in order to bring in and store more materials. Okay, looks like that is done over here, so we can move our gathering area. Finally, they cut down all the stuff. And we have a backup water source over here, too. We can actually put, like, a dock there, and we can fish from that little lake, too. So every lake means that we can fish. You don't want them to overlap, but we can put another fishing dock down here if we wanted to. Alright, let's go ahead and try to get some more scrap gathering going on. There's really not a lot of scrap around here, but there is up here. Ooh, fantastic. There's a lot right there. Let's go for the 146. Oh, I can't put it there. There we go. Pretty close, though. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the drought is upon us. Things are going to get really rough for us. Luckily, it looks like our cistern is completely full. And it looks like the lake has dried up. The drought is here. It's all over. Okay, let's go ahead and take people off of our water-carrying job as there's no more water to gather. And nobody needs to work at the gathering hut anymore. Nobody needs to work as a fisherman anymore. So let's go ahead and put our people solely on scrap and wood gathering. They can still cut down trees, and they can still gather scrap while we're waiting for the drought to pass. Eventually you'll see a giant sandstorm come through. And look at the ground actually lose all of its moisture, and all the leaves and stuff die off the trees, and bushes shrivel up, and it's a bad time. It's no bueno. Okay, let's see. We'll build 4 more homes there. Eventually we can build some larger shelters, but it does take a lot of materials, so it's more of an end game type of thing. But when you're starting out, you want to start out slow and sure. That eventually will win the race. Alright, the drought is here. Looks like we have a goal that's complete, or a goal that is assigned to us. We need to store 154 scrap, according to this. Well, we'll see if we can do that. I'd rather use the scrap to give 19 people protective clothing. That seems to be a little bit more important to me. Now we have a desert town. We went from like the coast of Connecticut to basically Arizona in the United States. Nothing to do now with everything shriveled up. So we'll go ahead and unassign some things here. Let's see if we can unassign this here. Yep, there's nothing to grab there anymore, so we'll go ahead and delete that. But they can still go up and get scrap, so that's very good. Lots of stuff to gather. And now we're finally making protective clothing for our people. Good. And it looks like 6 people need homes. Very good. We got a lot of people being born in this town. That is great. Very good. I'm going to assign even more homes to be built because this is not going to be enough. The town is growing rather quickly. Muy bueno. Excellent. So now we've got ourselves a few hungry settlers, a few thirsty settlers, but we do have stuff in reserve. And the drought should be over in about a day. We should be able to survive it. Now, it'll take a little bit of time for the plants and stuff to grow again, but the fishing docks will be replenished right away, and for whatever reason, we can immediately start fishing again. There is a goal for us to do this here. We'll get 30 wood and 7 metal tools if we store 154 scrap, but I'd rather use all that scrap again for protective clothing for our people, because without it, it'll lower their confidence, and with lower confidence comes less settlers, and with less settlers comes a very difficult task of trying to keep everyone alive, because not all the jobs can be maintained. So sometimes it's good to take a loss on a task if it's going to not really work out in the end for you. Let's go ahead and make some of these roads up this way. Good. We should be able to tuck some more town homes into the side next to the giant mountain, so we'll see how that all goes very soon. Alright, let's see. 115 food remaining. Good. Now we can assign everybody fishing jobs again. So let's get our... I think actually we can start fishing again, but gathering won't work right away. As you can see, there's nothing there. There's nothing to gather. So fishing we can do, and we can assign some farmers again. So let's go ahead and get ready on the seeds. Let's go ahead and grow... let's go ahead and grow beans, too. We can also grow hemp to make cloth as well, I think. Hemp can be harvested. It's not a source of food. It's converted into joints. Oh, okay. So it's for consumption at the pub. That'd be interesting if you could use it as a cloth. That'd be helpful. All right. Let's see. In other games, of course, you can. In this one, it's just consumed like wheat is for making booze. Let's go ahead and make 8 farmers active here. There we go. And we'll grow 1 for potatoes and 1 for beans. Excellent. So let's go ahead and make sure they are active again. There we go. Alright, so the farm fields are good to go. Fishing is good to go. Let's go ahead and get water. Immediately start gathering water again. Food is dangerously low, but I think we have enough to maintain. Alright, and our people should be on building homes again. Very good. Very good indeed. Alright, we've survived our first drought with no giant sandstorm coming in, which is good because it doesn't blow in radioactive soil. Sometimes that comes at the end. Go ahead and build a few more homes here. You can also lay out your city in kind of a blueprint mode and then pause the buildings for construction if you're not yet ready to build them. So for here, I'll know that I can fit in 4 more homes, maybe more, over here on this side. And then, of course, I can continue to expand south and build like a giant marketplace in the middle or something along those lines. And then, of course, we can build ourselves a graveyard over there, which gives our people more confidence because they'll have somewhere to remember the dead and to feel as if they're connected to their past, and it just gives them a peace of mind. They're able to rest as those rest in peace who've fallen before them. Very good. Alright, is gathering ready yet? Not quite. We'll wait and see if it comes back. It should soon. And we'll see some more plants regather. Another way we can check that is by going for gathering plants. If anything turns orange, we know that we've got it, or if it says a number in the counter below. So we are not able to gather anything just yet, but at least farming is taking place. And the soil... it's not too bad. It's actually looking kind of good. Kind of bad, kind of good. As you can see, it's kind of changing. Of course, these mean clouds are above us, too. So you can see that there's actually clouds that will move around, and that's what's irrigating the soil. But eventually we can build an irrigation plant, and that'll help that out. So we'll never have to worry about that again. Alright everyone, that is it for our first episode of Endzone, A World Apart. If you'd like to get this game, again, remember it's early access on Steam. I'm not sure if it's coming to consoles, and I don't know its current release price. It could change, as some games, when they're originally released, have a discount, and then they go up in price a little bit later. So act now if you're looking to get this one. It might change. But thank you everyone for dropping by. If you want to see an episode 2 where we expand our town even further and see big buildings such as cranes from our salvage yard and some other things, including industrial level gathering and refining, then go ahead and let me know by leaving a like. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you everyone for being here. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye everyone.